Good day, viewers, and welcome to 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television. My guest today is the chairman of the National Population Commission, Alhaji Nasiru Isa Kwarra, who was a politician and also a businessman before becoming the chair of the National Population Commission. You are welcome to this program.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, viewers.
You seem relaxed for somebody who is in charge of a very controversial assignment. I mean, conducting population census in Nigeria. So tell me what exactly is going on regarding that.
Well, I only appear relaxed, but I'm not completely relaxed. The job is very, very sensitive, and it's a very important national assignment, and I take it with all seriousness. And I want to say that people underrate the importance of the commission and the job it does. Providing data for demographic data and the socioeconomic data for national development for a country like Nigeria is not a small assignment, and it is very important for planning, for policy making, for industry to also be able to organize their production and marketing, and for government to provide socioeconomic infrastructure, schools, hospitals, roads, power, and so on and so forth. It's a very, very important thing that the nation must hold in very high esteem. So
I assume that a lot of preparations usually go into conducting such exercise. Yes. What sort of preparations have you been doing so far?
Okay, thank you very much. Census is our main activity, but we have other activities too that also generate data for national development. We carry out surveys. We have the National Demographic and Health Survey. We have the National Education Survey. We have the Malaria Indicator Survey, and so many surveys, at least to be able to support the census data. Because of the interval, we have, by United Nations Convention, 10 years interval between one census and the other. So providing such data in between, we do it through surveys. But the day-to-day data that we generate is that of birth and death registration.
And how comprehensive is it? Because you wonder whether we are able to capture all birth and death in Nigeria.
It's meant to be very highly comprehensive, but we have not really achieved that.
Why?
Logistics, funding, so many factors actually. So we were operating analog, manual. Now we're trying to digitize the entire process. In the 704 local governments in the nation and the federal capital, we're able to digitize the headquarters of the local government. But we have an average of 5 regional centers per local government. So we now need to deploy more resources and infrastructure to be able to expand the coverage to other centers.
Is there a timeline within which you hope to achieve this?
Yes. By our timeline, we're hoping that by 2025 we'll achieve full digitization.
And there will be universal coverage of The registration of birth and death.
Yes, you can access through our website platforms. You'll be able to get statistics on birth registration. You can verify the birth, whether you're in US or UK or you're in India, any part of the globe.
But what about generating the primary data that will be there, which can now be accessed? Are you like upscaling the capacity to capture everything that happens in between?
Okay. What we're doing, we are continuing with the regular daily registration, but we have a lot of legacy data, past records that are still in manual form. We're going to scan and create a database to make the entire exercise very robust. You can access past data. You can access and get data for past registrations that have been done in the country.
So as it is, what happens when a child is born or somebody dies in some remote corner of Nigeria? Does it get reported to you? Do you have an official that is seated in all the vastness of the country who does the register in every village, every community, or how does it work?
Yes, we have registration centers in the various wards of local governments. Like I said, we have an average of 5 of such centers in the local government. We're trying to expand the scope of the coverage, establish more centers. And we're not just stopping there, we're trying to use our handheld devices to go into hospitals, some that are giving birth at homes or at places that you can hardly easily access. So we have the handheld device that will go there instead of them coming to our offices at the various primary health centers to be able to get registered. We do that and then get across to them with our handheld devices.
But what about those who do not deliver at primary health centers? Because we know many Nigerians still don't go to hospitals to deliver. Many Nigerians do not die in hospitals. They die at home and they are quickly buried in many cases. So how do you capture those?
Okay, for the birth, that's what I'm saying. We use the handheld devices and go to their homes. When we get the information that somebody has given birth at home, our staff will go there and do the registration. We don't do that now, but that's the future plan. Like I said, by 2025 we'll be able to. 2025 we'll be able to get the coverage very robust. We're having problem with death, restriction of death, because death is a sad occurrence. When it happens, and you go start asking questions about the details of the deceased, the cause and what have you, the family that is already bereaved and sad, you don't get the kind of response you expect. So,
but in the past, it used to be the village scribes who, through the imams and the priests, the imams and the priests usually preside over when somebody dies, the ceremonies to bury them. Aren't you leveraging on that? Aren't you using those officials to, like... Okay,
those are our stakeholders. We get information from them. We want to make it a more organized system where they keep records of this death without necessarily asking questions. When they keep it and you go and are able to access the information from them, makes things easy for you. But if you have to go and start interviewing them to get this thing, it will be very difficult.
So there will be like your kind of workers or stakeholders, as you call them, that you'll be paying them some stipends to render this service?
That's where the problem comes in, because The budget for those kind of stipends is what we do not capture in our annual budgetary expense, because we operate a very tight budget. They give us an envelope and we just fit our operations into it. And we would like to, in the process of digitization, have a modality for operating a PPP arrangement with
some arrangement with the private
sector,
right?
So that we have this captured. We get funding more like from the verification of birth and death. So we will seek approval of government. We'll take part for the administration, and then part will remit to government as revenue. But we will not charge for registration of birth, which is supposed to be free, and death is free. But from verification, we'll be able to generate some income and take care of that. Probably out of that, we'll be able to give out some stipends. Nigeria is very large.
But I hear from people who relate with maybe hospitals that you have to pay some money before you can get certificate of birth, and I assume even of death in the hospitals.
No, if anybody tells you that, I won't say you may be telling lies, but it is not supposed to be so.
But they are doing it.
It is wrong. It is wrong. It's supposed to be free.
And
anybody that asks for that money, I think should be questioned. Anybody, don't even give that kind of money. Okay, let me clarify. It is free up to the extent that birth is up to 60 days and death is up to 30 days. It's free. But out of that, if it goes beyond, you could charge. But even that, we have received feedback. People are complaining.
Pushing back, yes.
So we don't want to even collect anything, even beyond the 60 days or 30 days of death, 60 days of birth. So,
but since you are not doing it directly yourself, that's the commission.
Yeah.
I mean, it's open. When you go to a hospital, you need this. They think you need it for something, and you have to pay.
No. Sincerely speaking, we don't charge. We want to abide strictly by government regulation that we conduct that freely. Then the next most important thing that we do is the census.
Yes.
The census. Okay.
Yes, we'll come to the census in greater detail in the second part of this interview.
Okay.
But at this point, we'll take a short break, and when we resume, I will ask the chairman of the National Population Commission to tell us more about the census that his commission is to conduct sometime this year. Welcome back to 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television. With me today is the chairman of the National Population Commission, Alhaji Nasiru Isa Kwarra. Mr. Chairman, just before we went on the break, we were about to start talking about the all-important census.
Yes.
Is it to be or not to be?
Well, inshallah, it's to be. We started preparation for the census some years back. The commission thought, since the last census was conducted in 2006, preparation actually started in 2015 to 2016. but somehow there was transition.
It is transition of the leadership
of the
country and also of the commission itself.
Okay. No, it's the country first.
Right.
Yes.
The 2015 election.
2015 election. So in the administration of President Mahmoud Bari coming in, and you cannot come in and then start talking about conducting census. I'm quite sure he came with an agenda, and that's how he was able to implement most of the things that he set out to implement. And he gave us the node for us to conduct census.
When?
I think from 2019, because we are laying the foundation, doing the EAD.
We did the enumeration area demarcation, whereby you map out all the different parts of Nigeria into small bits.
Yes, to small pieces called enumeration areas. So now we had done that for a long time, and it's like...
Have you done it for the whole country?
We are getting there. We've done substantially, about...
like 70%?
99%.
99%?
Yes, I was just taking the history and then coming to where we are now.
Right.
So he gave us initial enablement to make sure we finish the demarcation. So we intensified efforts. 2019, 2020, 2021. Now we're almost through with it by 2021.
But I thought that the ones you've done is in some selected areas, not in the whole country, not in the 774 local governments, and not in every enumeration area that you have.
No, we did for every state in the country simultaneously.
A portion of the state,
yes,
but not the whole state.
Not the whole state. We take like 1, 2, or 3, sometimes 4, 5 local governments per state, depending on the size of the state and number of local governments in the state. So at least every state is involved. We did that in phases, from phase 1 to phase 17.
And so, does that mean now you have done it in every inch of Nigeria?
We have done it in virtually every inch of Nigeria, except for 2 local governments that we could not do because of insecurity problem.
Which are those local governments?
They are
is it in Borno State?
The one in Borno State, which is Abadan local government, and the one in Birnin in Kaduna State. I've had discussions with the 2 governors, and we are working on having an understanding for an operation that will give proper coverage to our staff to finish the local government within 1 week if we set out and get set for it. We finish the local government in Abadan, and then the one in Bidingwari.
Right.
There are still some pockets of areas because insecurity is very
widespread.
Yes, widespread. So there are local governments who've done like 80-90%. Then there are just some pocket of areas that we need to. So as we're doing Abadan and Bidingwari, we also cover those
other places.
Yes, so that
because I assume there must be local government in, say, Niger, Zamfara,
yes,
Sokoto,
yes,
Katsina,
yes,
Kaduna State,
yes, that
which are still maybe inaccessible to your staff.
No, we were able to access them, but we couldn't cover the entire local government.
Right.
So there are just some wards or some localities that we just need to go there and carry out the demarcation exercise.
When do you think all this will be finished?
In our timeline, we have just between now and end of March.
Right.
to be able to finish
So
that.
how realistic then is the May day that was earlier been proposed as May 2021 for the census?
Okay, we are working with our old timeline, but we're already getting feelers from the presidency. May not be feasible, so we may have the date adjusted, but I don't want to preempt Mr. President. He's the one that will make that announcement.
But the president has not made the proclamation. There's supposed to be a proclamation before a census is conducted. Do you have an idea on when that will be?
Okay, proclamation. To me, during the launch of the National Policy on Population for Sustainable Development, Mr. President, in his address, while he was trying to inaugurate the National Council on Population Management, he mentioned that census will be conducted at a later date, which is...
At a later date could be interpreted to mean even after his administration, because after all, his administration has just ducked the question of fuel subsidy and pushed it to the next government.
No, I'm quite sure he is going to approve the conduct of census this year. I'm quite sure.
So realistically, you could push it, you mean from May to maybe November or October,
the fourth quarter
of the...
But
isn't that too close to elections?
Yes, it may be close to elections, but we are mindful of the fact that by then probably the primaries would have been conducted. That interval between primaries and the general election, we'll just get in there and conduct our census. And
you are hoping there may be no upheaval that usually follows such primaries, with all the contestants being, maybe some of the contestants being dissatisfied?
I don't think we anticipate upheavals, but they can go to court and take their cases up with the courts. But upheavals, I don't expect that we have upheavals, because it's still a party affair, intra-party thing, so it may not, be it may not extend to the level of having any upheavals. So if we conduct the census at that time, then we'll be working on the analysis and the results, which we hope will be announced even after the conduct of the general elections.
But as you very well know, even with at the best of times, that is with no uncertainties like an election year, primaries, and what have you, censuses have been very controversial in Nigeria.
Yes.
So how are you hoping that this difficult timing could produce something that will be acceptable?
Well, I want to believe that the methodology of taking and the resolve of the body of commissioners that will not allow any external forces to tamper with the outcome of the census. We have that resolve. We are committed to delivering to Nigeria an unbiased census figure that will be accurate, will be acceptable, and generally widely received as the true reflection of Nigeria's population.
The Northern Elders Forum has come out clearly against the conduct of the census. They are saying that with the level of insecurity, how could you conduct something that is acceptable, that is comprehensive, that reaches people? So you are supposed to count people in their normal abode, and now they are displaced. What will you say to that?
Okay, I will say that not conducting census itself will even exacerbate the problems we are facing now. So we can conduct our census like we did our enumeration in the area demarcation. And for census, the period for the census itself is just normally either 1 week or so, and within this 1 week, there's normally a break, a holiday that's taken for, is given for people to stay at home and be counted. So it will actually be less problematic because people will be staying at home.
What about the displaced people who are not in their normal abode, who are like, I mean, whole areas have been kind of depopulated because of the banditry and other insecurity
We
challenges?
will enumerate them where they are.
Okay.
Like in the case of Maiduguri or even Northwest, they will be displaced and moved from their original places of abode, but they come to the other cities or other parts of the country to take refuge. Wherever they go, we will count them there. And in the questionnaire, we'll be able to relate those people from the questions we ask to where they are at the moment, at that moment, and to where their natural places of abode is. So we can actually relate them because it's a census that is for the people, the citizens, and the buildings.
Right.
So
the uncertainty now, yeah. I mean, because we don't know in May, in November or October, is that why there isn't a lot of mobilization? Because a lot of people, when you stop them, they don't know that a census may be conducted this year.
Yeah. Well, the mobilization, we're doing it strategically, but it will come out in force when the president makes that formal proclamation. We want to believe that the president is taking his time to make sure he does things right. So we don't want to rush him into making that. I'm quite sure when he finishes all the processes, consultations, and what have you, he will be able to make the proper proclamation.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Nasiru Isa Kwarra, Chairman, National Population Commission.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of 30 Minutes with the Chairman of the National Population Commission, Alhaji Nasiru Isa Kwarra. Keep a date with us.